I have a new lens to show you today. It's the Lensbaby Composer Pro II with Edge 35 Optic. I have it here on my Nikon Z7, but it's available for numerous mounts. Nikon's F and Z mounts, Sony's E mount, Canon's EF and R mounts, Fuji's X mount, and the Micro Four Thirds mount as well. So I will be showing you examples that I took with my Nikon cameras, but you could get these effects on many different cameras. Before I get to the review, here is a few of my favorite shots that I took with this lens, and then I will share more photos throughout the review so that you can draw your own conclusions about it. To get started, let me share a little bit about Lensbaby in general. Lensbaby's site says things like, "See in a new way," and "We are the enemy of perfection." I love it. I have a couple of other Lensbaby lenses. In fact, I purchased the very first Lensbaby many years ago. And they really do challenge me to see in a new way. And all of their lenses, including this one, are manual focus only, which forces me to slow down and to stay in the moment. And I have achieved what I think are some of my most satisfying and interesting images with them. But let's get to this lens in particular. First, one really super duper interesting thing about this lens is that it is in two parts. Lensbaby calls it an optic swap system. There is the Composer Pro II, which is the base that attaches to your camera mount. And then there is the Optic, which fits into the base. So your base, the Composer Pro II, is specific to your camera brand and mount. And then the Optic is universal. So I have both the Nikon F mount and the Nikon Z mount version of the Composer Pro II, and I can use my Optic, the Edge 35 here, on either one, or I could use it on any of the other mounts. Now I know what you're thinking. That looks weird. Tell me more. And I agree. It's intriguing, isn't it? It's a tilt lens, and that means that this part of the lens, the Optic, it tilts. It's like a ball joint. And if you aren't familiar with tilt lenses, tilt changes the focal plane. So instead of it being perpendicular to your lens, it makes it diagonal, which can either reduce the depth of field beyond what it would normally be at any given aperture, or it can maintain focus on an angled surface, which would normally be impossible to do. It kind of gives you another dimension. On top of that, the different optics available have different characteristics within that tilt capability. So I have the Edge 35 here. It is a 35mm lens, and it has a slice of the image that is in focus. With the tilt, you're moving that slice of focus to different areas of the frame. Make sense? The other optics available have different focal lengths or a different overall effect even. For example, the Sweet optics have a round area of focus instead of the slice of the Edge optics. These lenses are giving you selective focus through the lens rather than something that you would manufacture in post-processing. Now, this is the first Lensbaby that I have used on a mirrorless camera. And one thing that struck me is that mirrorless cameras have made me kind of more excited about the Lensbaby products because of things like focus peaking and the punch in on the electronic viewfinder where you can zoom in on an area of your scene to really make sure that you're in focus. As an only sometimes manual focus user, it's really nice to have that help. It makes manual focus and lenses like this one more approachable. Incidentally, not only do the lenses not have autofocus, they do not communicate with your camera in any way. You have an aperture ring on the Optic. This optic has a maximum aperture of f3.5. Different optics in the line have different maximum apertures though. Obviously, the wider apertures will enhance the look, and narrower apertures will give you more in focus areas. In fact, there were times when I tried to use a narrow aperture and also keep the lens fairly untilted just to see how much I could minimize the effect. Now let's talk quality and construction of the lens. Just because I'm getting my artistry on doesn't mean that I don't want a quality lens, you know? So first, I confess that I did have to watch a video on Lensbaby's website to figure out how to swap the Optic from my F mount to my Z mount. But now that I know, it's actually really simple. Also, this Optic is one of the longest optics available for this system, and the Z mount appears to be the bulkiest composer, so most other options would actually be more compact than this. You can see that the Nikon F mount version here is smaller. The lens altogether feels well built, and it's been in and out of my camera bag, it's been jostled around during travel, and it's just as solid as when I first pulled it out of the box. And I should mention, it's quite inexpensive. So Lensbaby lenses are created with a different philosophy than other gear manufacturers. Their goal is to not be like everyone else. These lenses do not have the ultimate in sharpness across the frame or the best weather sealing. I mean, they don't even have autofocus, right? The point is to create a unique look and feel to your image and to encourage your creativity. Their lenses are not for you to just break the rules. They're for you to completely throw the rules out the window. It's like taking a test target and folding it into a hat and wearing it around while you're having fun shooting your Lensbaby. For me, this is kind of a therapy lens. There's no right or wrong way to use it. It's just fun. I don't have to worry about it. It just forces me to slow down and kind of create differently. It's just one more tool in my creative toolbox. The best way to figure out how it suits you, though, is to try it. There is a link to this system in the description. It's an Amazon link, so thank you to those of you that use those links. Anytime that you use the links to get to Amazon and purchase anything at all, it helps my channel just a little bit. That's it for this lens today, but I do have another Lensbaby item in my review queue. It's not a lens, though. It is a filter system for your existing lenses. Pretty exciting. So make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell if you're interested in being notified when my new videos go live. Thanks for watching, everyone.